Oh man, welcome college football fans. I am your host, Bryce Petty, coming to you live from my house. I am joined always by my esteemed colleague, Trevor Knight, who's doing an improv slide in.
It works. 14, virtual high five, my friend.
Yes, man.
Let's go.
Merry belated Christmas. How was it?
Merry belated Christmas to you. It was great. Me and the wife watched a bunch of Christmas movies, did some cooking, did some gingerbread houses, exchanged some gifts, all that kind of good stuff. Got to celebrate with some family a little bit before Christmas, which was also just always great. I know family time for all of you guys, all of our listeners, is super important and fun, and everybody's got their little yearly things that they do, and we're starting to get those going in our little family as well.
Yeah,
so what about you guys, Bryce?
Love it. Yeah, it was great, man. We had family up here. My wife loves to host on Christmas, so we had my family and then her family come up, which was a good time. Love it. Love a crowded house, man. That's the best part about the holidays are crowded homes. And, as you guys will find out, the traditions are fun to just kind of mix and mingle. So that's always fun. We actually, crazy enough, man, we had fried deer steak for our Christmas dinner.
I saw that on your Instagram. That looked legit.
It was awesome.
Did you guys
really,
do
really
the oil and the, dipping them down? And did you have a pot? Or
we fried them. Heck yeah. Fried them up. Yeah. Doug Fields' father-in-law is a savant when it comes to fried deer steak. So I got to watch Picasso at work there. And my stomach is still trying to hold some things down, which is good. But anyways, yeah, man, great times. Love kind of getting back together, especially because I don't know how everybody did it last year, but we weren't able to do it. I think everybody had COVID, so good to get everybody back in the house. But tell me real quick, what was your favorite gift that you got this year?
Oh gosh. So we've started a little tradition in our family where something fun or enjoyable from that year, we get an ornament representing that. So like the year before me and Lacey got married, we spent a lot of time out in Arizona together. So we got an ornament with kind of the shape of the Arizona and had the year on it. Last year, we went to Huntington Beach for kind of like our honeymoon, if you will, because all COVID was going on. That was in 2020. And we got a Huntington Beach ornament. This year, we got two. We got one from St. Lucia. We went on a trip to St. Lucia together. And then we also got one because this is our first Christmas in our house. So we got our first Christmas with the, address on it and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I like the little gifts like that. So that was probably my favorite. But she got me a Yeti and some other cool stuff that'll be of good use, this coming year. But that little ornament, those are always special to see what she decides on. What about you?
Yeah, man, I got a Blackstone grill. Have you seen those?
Ooh,
they're like the little hibachi. Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait to cook up some stuff on that bad boy.
You haven't fired it up yet?
No, we had. I've been at gas stations now, and everybody's out of propane. Go figure.
Gotcha. So you got the Traeger, the big boy Traeger now, and you've got the Blackstone. So we're having dinner at your house really soon.
I'm ready to go whenever.
That's
we can
legit.
order McDonald's whenever you want.
That's legit. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's dive on in and just for our listeners, man, we wanted to do a fun kind of playoff pregame show. So I know everything's kind of getting right now. It's coming up on Friday, obviously, with Cincinnati and Alabama playing here in Dallas, and then we have Michigan and Georgia. They're playing it. Where are they playing at? They're playing Miami, right?
Orange Bowl in Miami. That's right.
So they're playing in Miami.
Fun little insight, for both of us to dive into these games, both from obviously the football side of things, but also the personal side of things, because me and you have both played in the Cotton Bowl. And then I got to play in the Orange Bowl. So we kind of understand what the week looks like as we move into one of my favorite times of the year. I mean, bowl season is awesome. Right now we've got bowl games going on, but when you get to New Year's Six and the playoff games, man, there's nothing better. It's like, hey, our hopes and dreams are right there on the line. Let's go out and take this thing. So, Bryce, let's start with the Cotton Bowl here in Dallas. We got Alabama and Cincinnati. You've been a Cincinnati fan since the beginning of the year. You've just believed in these guys, but that was obviously with their regular season schedule. You thought they had a chance to go and run the table and play really good football, which they have. But now they're going up against what we've called on our After Dark show, the Roman Army in Alabama. And you've got the Heisman Trophy winner leading that team. Alabama is currently a favorite at 13.5 points. Thank you to Bet Rivers for that line. But Bryce, what are your kind of, as we lead into the week, high-level thoughts on this game? Do you like Cincinnati? Do you think they have a shot? Are you rolling with Alabama? And if Cincinnati does have a chance, what must happen for them to stay in the ballgame?
Yeah, well, I'll take the second question first, right? So I think that this is all going to come down to Desmond Ridder and really Jerome Ford and their front five versus Alabama's front seven. If they can get something going and allow a little bit of momentum, and as we know, and kind of what we've always been talking about in the spread offense, it is typically a run first offense. People don't realize that all the time because guys put up big numbers, receivers put up big numbers, but all that is predicated on you being able to run and establish the run in that offense. So can Jerome Ford and these guys have a day? And they did against Georgia last year, and again it allowed them to stay in the game with a really talented Georgia game or a Georgia team rather, all the way up to a field goal at the end. So so that's to me the keys, especially on the offensive side. On the defensive side for Cincinnati, or the offensive side, however you want to look at it for Alabama, I think all eyes are going to be on Bryce Young. I think really coming to his own, especially as he had his Heisman moment several times over again, but especially in this Georgia game, sealed it. The guy's just playing really well, and I think Billy O and him are really starting to gel in terms of the execution of the offense. So it's can Cincinnati's defense, who is a really good defense, and I think they're actually almost better in the back end than they are up front. Can they do what they need to do to keep Bryce Young and these guys from driving 75, 80, every time out there on the offense to score points. Those would be my kind of keys of the game that I like. Trevor, what are some of yours in this game particularly?
I completely agree with what you're saying. I think eliminating Bryce Young in that offense from making the big play. We always talked about when we were playing, eliminating those explosive plays. And what we would call an explosive play is any pass play over 25 yards and any run play over 15 yards, right? So eliminating explosive plays on the defensive side of the ball for Cincinnati, going up against the Heisman Trophy winner who's capable of making a lot of those, I think is a huge key to the game. And then just eliminating mistakes, obvious things, right? Not turning the ball over, short yardage goal line, making sure you have clean exchanges, making sure that you're taking what the defense gives you on the offensive side of the ball, as opposed to trying to force things in there. A second and 5, get 3 is fine. Instead of trying to force something in there and create a turnover, you just got to play clean, sound ball and not try to bite off the whole apple, with one throw here and there. And also the last thing, obviously, one of the things that most people don't talk about or think about a lot, but it's the special teams game. Alabama has been historically very sound on special teams, specifically in their coverages. Their coverage teams are always, they put their next big name up there, right? You had Reuben Foster running around knocking cats out. You had all these big name guys running down on kickoff and making big plays in the game. So if Cincinnati can, on all sides of special teams, make some plays, I think that's a big key to them having a chance. Now, this is talking about them having a chance. In reality, I think that Alabama is a 13.5 point favorite for a reason. I think that they proved going up against Georgia in the SEC title game that, yeah, they're gettable, like we've talked about this whole year, but they're still Alabama. And when toe meets rubber, they're going to be ready to play in a big time game. They have the experience to. experience goes a long, long way. And I know you know this, Bryce, but when you have a young guy that is even just sitting on the sidelines watching his team win a national championship, he's still ingesting the aroma of what it's like to play in a big time game like that. And that's just an edge that Alabama has. So I like Alabama in the football game. I think what I've been saying all along since this matchup came out, I think it'll be a pretty tight first half. Cincinnati will come out with their ears pinned back, but they just don't have enough in the tank to stay with or even outlast Alabama in the second half. So I'm going to go with Alabama in this one, and I'm going to say that they're going to be a 14-point winner in this one, Bryce.
Yeah, I love it. Real quick too, before we go to, maybe some predictions on the score, but so let's kind of dive in a little bit to these QBs. I know that's kind of a fun thing for us to look at. Maybe for our listeners, who knows? I like doing it anyway. So you got Desmond Ridder, who is, and especially for this game too, you have kind of a seasoned vet and a very touted, first year starter, rookie, if you will. And Bryce Young for Alabama. So will you tell me a little bit about, what you like about Desmond Ridder going up against the Alabama defense, maybe a big play atmosphere, kind of like what you were just talking about. Also, what you like about, Bryce Young going up against a Cincinnati Bearcats team who's coming a lot of momentum, hasn't lost in 2 years.
Yeah, so neat story in Desmond Ridder, right? I mean, he's a 2-star recruit on Rivals coming out of high school. Didn't have all the offers, wasn't this big, recruited quarterback like Bryce Young was. But what he's done is he's just gone to work. Actually, our boss man, Rob, sent us over a text the other day. Desmond Ridder was recruited to Cincinnati by a head coach who is now a politician in Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah.
So he's seen change in the coaching staff, but you can just tell the kid has just come to work. He's got confidence in himself. And I think that's the biggest thing at that position is confidence. And now he's leading a team that is in the college football playoff. And when he steps out there, his shoulders are back. You can tell from that confidence when he plays that he believes in his chest that he belongs on that field with anybody. So that's what I like about him. Bryce Young, he's a Heisman winner, right? I mean, you can't say enough good things about him. Throughout the year, people were talking about, he could be a game manager. But he continued to put that team and specifically that offense on his back and show that he can make all the throws, show that he's mature enough as a young guy to be a leader of a team like that, and then go out in the SEC championship and truly, truly, truly earn that Heisman, in my opinion, by just making some incredible throws, not making mistakes, showing that he was the best player on the field, not only that night, but the best player in college football. What are your love to hear your thoughts on both of these guys? I know that you're of high praise for Desmond Ridder, and then obviously, again, without question, Bryce Young's just a phenomenal player himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Desmond Ridder has really just kind of flown under the radar a little bit in terms of who we've been talking about, the Pickett's and obviously the Bryce Youngs, guys that went to New York. I really felt like coming off of the Georgia game into this year that Desmond had a really good shot at being in New York. Started slow a couple of games, obviously, but look, all that being said, Cincinnati's been driven by him in the QB position for the last 3 or 4 years, especially the last 2 going undefeated. So he has a lot to do with that. Has a lot of moxie. I like what you said about the confidence because I can totally see it. You could definitely see that he makes every throw. He makes the go balls on the sidelines, makes his second level throws, over backers, underneath safeties, and just manages the game really well in that system. Where I think that I actually really like Bryce Young probably better in this matchup is just, watching that Auburn game again, when he stepped out there on that final drive, it was like the ball. There was absolutely no fear in his eyes whatsoever, like he's been doing it for years. And he just operated. Bill O'Brien's offense is not an easy offense to operate. There's a lot of checks. There's a lot of things in terms of pure progressions, half-field reads, things that are just, going from high school at modern day to Tuscaloosa is a big jump. And I think he's just done it, really, really well. And then his intangibles are just so good. I mean, he is a natural thrower as good as any as we've seen, especially come through Alabama. as he's kind of been lighting up the record books for freshmen. So I think he's going to have a really, really good career. But this, again, kind of going back into comparison on these QBs, it's about who can manage the moment. There's going to be ups, downs. These games always present those. The ball's not going to fall your way all the time. Can you kind of step your team? And so it's going to be, a lot of fun watching these two kind of battle it out.
Agreed. Yeah, I think, people have been wanting Cincinnati to get in. And I think a lot of people, once they get in, it's like, did we really want this matchup? But I think it's going to be a phenomenal Cotton Bowl to watch. I think that place is going to be packed out. It's a fun venue to play in Jerry World, AT&T Stadium. So I will be obviously glued to the TV, ready to watch that QB matchup, and hopefully Cincinnati gives Bama a run for their money. So, hey, before we dive into the other playoff game, Georgia, Michigan, let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at BetRivers Sportsbook. We've been with them all year long. They've been an incredible partner. If you haven't signed up with BetRivers yet, it's still a good time. A lot of bowl games like we've talked about coming up. They're still offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. What sets them apart? They require just one play to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With the college football playoff literally right around the corner, be sure to get in on the action today by going to betrivers.com or by downloading their BetRivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Big thanks again to BetRivers for riding with us all season long. And on the Trevor and Bryce show, we have really enjoyed looking at the different lines and talking through these games. And Bryce, like we talked about on our last show, man, this has been one heck of a year following specifically the Big 12, but just college football in general, man. It's a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys, our listeners, have enjoyed tuning in as well. So with that being said, let's dive into the other playoff, the Orange Bowl down in South Beach, Miami, Georgia taking on Michigan, your Big Ten champ, Mr. Khakis himself taking on Kirby Smart. This one is a lot more appetizing, in my opinion, than the Cotton Bowl. Obviously, you've got two historic programs. Michigan, the year that they've had, what we've always talked about as a quiet year, and then to come out and now be one of the top 4 teams in college football, really with the chance, if they can, get through these next couple games, obviously, with the way that they've been playing, to hoist a trophy and bring the big house some hardware, which is really exciting. Bryce, similar questions here. Let's roll through this just like we did the Cotton Bowl. What are your initial thoughts on this matchup? Who do you like? And anything else that you see that can either make Michigan successful or Georgia successful in this ball game?
Yeah, I think what's interesting about this is, you kind of have a clash of two powerhouse teams that do very similar things. They play good defense and they run the ball. Both of them are kind of running back by committee teams. The QB position is more of a game manager, as we were kind of alluding to, in some of our after dark shows with Cade McNamara and Stetson Bennett. And, look, there's been a lot of talk right now about Stetson Bennett and is he the right guy, or do we put JT Daniels in? It's not good press, right? Never when you lead your team, undefeated the regular season, and no one was even a contest until you met a hot Alabama team in the SEC championship game that just kind of they did what they wanted to them, and we hadn't really seen that this year. So with 3 weeks off, preparing for or I guess 2 weeks off preparing for this game. This is going to be basically really a heavyweight battle between, to me, the coaches, right? You have Kirby Smart and Jim Harbaugh, who both have been and played at big games, but can you manage, all of the outside noise that's being played right now? To me, you have, Michigan rolling on a lot of momentum. To your point, Trevor, no one really counted them in at the beginning of the season, and they just kept winning. Obviously, Michigan State was a great game. home. They lost by a few points, so that's a tough one there. But what tail end of the season, obviously the Big Ten champions, heading into this game. And now you have Georgia, same thing, kind of steamrolling everybody. They lose to Alabama in the SEC championship game. And now they have all this outside noise that's weighing on them as well. So who can manage that? Have that senior leadership, from your school to prepare you against a really, really good opponent on both sides of the ball. So I really like the way that this game is setting up. I think that this has the makings of being a really, kind of that 35-34 kind of game. These teams are going to score, even though they have great defenses. I think that Michigan's watching the heck out of this SEC championship game and what they were able to do through the air. Talking on Alabama and Bryce Young and what they did to this Georgia defense that was, for a lot of people impenetrable for a long time. So I really like this matchup, like you said, and kind of excited to watch this one, probably more so, I think, a little bit than the Alabama-Cincinnati game myself. Hit me. Yeah. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I like I'll start with this. I like the venue better in Dallas. I like Jerry World. It's inside. It's just a better feel for me. I feel like my headspace as a quarterback, I would enjoy playing in the Cotton Bowl more than down in Miami. Miami was fun. You play at the Dolphin Stadium. You get to go to the beach, all that kind of fun stuff. But just from a headspace standpoint, I enjoyed the Cotton Bowl experience more. But that being said, back to football, right? It is a much more appetizing game. I think that what we've said all year long about Georgia is they ride on their defense. Obviously, doesn't matter who they have at quarterback. Plug and play either of those guys. They're good enough to get the job done. At this point in the season, they're going to have to play their best ball. So Kirby Smart's got a huge decision on his hands. To your point, a guy that's you've kind of rolled with the whole season, or a guy that started the year out as your starter and has a lot of talent as well. Are they going to strike lightning in a bottle on this given night and pick the right guy? It's a tough decision to make. But I trust that Kirby Smart and his program will do that. I'll tell you what, though, I've been a huge Georgia fan this whole year because of what they've done specifically on the defensive side of the ball. But man, quiet Wolverines, right? I think Jim Harbaugh is finally showing people that, hey, just give him some time, just let him develop the culture. And we've got cats on our team too that are just as good as anybody we line up against. Aiden Hutchinson obviously is climbing the ranks, looking like he's going to be one of the first picks in the draft. You've got studs on both sides of the ball. I think if Cade McNamara can come out and play solid, again, not turn the ball over, make some big plays. Michigan's got every single chance to go out and do exactly what Alabama did in the SEC title game and knock off the White Walkers, as we call them, Georgia. Georgia is a 7.5-point favorite right now. Again, thank you, Bet Rivers, for that line. I think that's too high, especially coming off the loss to Alabama and what Michigan has done going through what I think is one of the stronger Big East schedules that we've seen. Those guys are just beating up on each other. Michigan is ready. I think they're probably preparing in a way right now that's saying, hey, they're not giving us a shot. We're going to go in there and prove that we are one of, if not the best teams in the country. And so I'm going to switch what I said on our After Dark show immediately when these came out. I said that I liked Georgia winning the whole thing. I think I'm going to switch and say, at least in this game, I like Michigan against the betting odds in this one. I think Michigan, I just have this gut feeling about them that they're preparing in a way that's just, hey, let's rock and roll. We're not messing around. We're not doing anything stupid during, this prep time and all this COVID going around. We're handling our business. And we're going to be ready to play in Miami, when toe meets leather, right? And so this is going to be a really fun one to watch. I'm excited for it, but two phenomenal games coming up. The college football playoff, maybe the last year that we have just the 4 teams. We'll see, what they decide moving forward. But for now, these are the 2 big enchiladas to watch, and they're going to be tasty, let me tell you.
I couldn't end it better myself, partner. As always, it's great to talk to you about football specifically, but just hearing your knowledge about the game, a little bit of a personal appetite as well with the enchiladas. So I'm excited about these games as well. So I think if I remember right, you have Alabama playing Michigan in the national championship game, correct?
That's right. What do you got?
And then who do you have winning it all?
I've got Alabama winning yet another one.
Okay.
Nick Saban's the greatest college football coach of all time.
Yeah, I love it. Man, I would actually, I think as a fan, I would love to see Alabama, Michigan. I would love to see that game. Obviously we've already seen Alabama, Georgia. Can Michigan do enough? I think they can. I don't know what's going to happen with this QB situation. It's a weird time to come into, the college football playoffs, and you still don't really know who your signal caller is. So for that, I'm flipping with you, crazy enough. And I'm going to say Alabama, Michigan. And then I think that if Michigan rolls Georgia or not even rolls and just beats them, I think they're going to continue to ride this momentum. And I got Michigan. So my whole after dark, predictions are all out of whack right now. I'm throwing them all out like, the wrapping paper I just threw out today. So I got Michigan winning it all.
Love it. All right. So we've got the same national championship matchup, but you're rolling with Michigan. I'm rolling with Alabama. We'll see how it turns out.
Let's grab a beer together. All right. All you college football fans out there, enjoy it, especially the Big 12 ones. Thank you, as always, for listening and tuning into us. It's always so tweet us your thoughts as well. As always, Trevor, good to DMs. So if you can, slide on in there. And then you guys have a happy holidays and New Year's if we don't talk to you before then. And then we'll get ready for the big showdown here in Indianapolis here in a couple weeks.
And we will have an after dark show on the 1st, just kind of recapping these games. So make sure and tune into that. And then, yes, we will be in Indianapolis, as Bryce said, for the national championship there that first weekend or second week, I guess, of January. So tune into that, guys. As always, we enjoy you rolling with us. We appreciate you rolling with us on the Trevor and Bryce show. And that's another episode. See you guys soon.